I'm Jaxon Watson, and this is the first episode of the Checkered Flag Chat, where I, in the style of Eric Eastep, will be discussing many NASCAR stories from across the sport, from silly season to race reviews and everything in between. So, for today, I'd like to do a recap for silly season for anyone who may have forgotten anything or may have just gotten in and don't really know what to expect, may have just gotten in last year and may not have followed silly season. So the main story, I feel, is SHR slowing down. SHR 2 Cup Series championships in 2011 with Tony Stewart and 2014 with Kevin Harvick. They will be shutting down. But Gene Haas, the 49% owner of SHR, will be keeping one of the charters, and will be running it as the Haas factory team with Cole Custer, 2020 NASCAR Cup Series Rookie of the Year and 2023 NASCAR Xfinity Series champion at the wheel in the number 41. How do I think Cole Custer will do? I don't think he'll do anything flashy, but I don't expect him to be at the bottom of the field, but I don't expect him to be competing really even in the top 15, maybe not even the top 20. As long as he just doesn't wreck the car and gets in one piece and is consistent, I would say that's okay. But that leaves three charters that had been sold. And obviously everyone knows the 2311 Farmer Motorsports lawsuit against NASCAR. I will not be discussing that as I am not really knowledgeable in that, and I feel like many more people could give a detailed analysis on it. So anyway, I have my notes here. Trackhouse is the first one. They will be they have purchased one of the charters. I'll be running the number 88. Yes, the 88 is back for the first time since 2020 with Alex Bowman. Now it will be driven by Australian Supercars champion Shane Van Gisbergen. And yes, SVG will be going full-time cup racing in the number 88 for Trackhouse. SVG, I expect him I would not be shocked if he gets playoff. I will not be shocked if he gets a win and makes the playoffs. I don't know about round of 12, especially considering we don't have Watkins Glen in the first round of the playoffs, but you never know. Okay, this is a Trackhouse car. I would expect SVG, if he doesn't make the playoffs, that would be actually a pretty big shock if he doesn't, or at least doesn't get a win. Okay? But last year, Trackhouse signed a deal with Zane Smith, where Zane raced for Spire, but he was under contract with Trackhouse until they found a spot. They split ways, and Zane Smith, he used to run for Front Row in the Truck Series, made some starts in 2023, 38. He will be going back there for 2025 in the 38. Todd Gilliland, who ran the 38, will be going to the 34. Michael McDowell, who ran the 34, 2021 Daytona 500 winner, he will be moving to Spire in the 71, replacing Zane Smith. So it's kind of like, so basically, Zane Smith replaces Gilliland, Gilliland replaces McDowell, McDowell replaces Zane Smith. Okay, it's basically a circle. As far as how each of them I think will do, I think Zane Smith, last year, he definitely got off to a rocky start, but in the second half, he wasn't awful. He wasn't that awful. He wasn't like lighting the world on fire, but he wasn't bad really in the second half. And I'm pretty sure he said once that it was hard because he had 1 foot in one team, 1 foot in the other, Spire and Trackhouse. Yeah, I bet that's gonna affect your performance. Anyway, Todd Gilliland, Gilliland has been getting progressively better. Atlanta last year in the second race, he led, I believe, more laps in that race alone than he had in his entire career up to that point. He beat McDowell in points, if I'm not mistaken, in 2024. So, Gilliland, I would expect him to be a fringe playoff contender. Maybe at Super Speedway, maybe he'll surprise someone. He might go ahead and surprise someone like Atlanta or Daytona or something. You never know. And as far as McDowell, Spire is another team on the up and up. McDowell, he has a Daytona 500 win. He can win at places other than super speedways, as shown in 2023. He's a decent road racer. McDowell, he might actually be in the playoff contender. I would say there's a lot of teams that could be playoff contenders, but that's a discussion for another video. Um, so anyway, so I said front row also bought one of the SHR charters with the number 4, and who'll be driving it will be Noah Gragson. Thing is, as far as I've learned, Gregson, he basically has his same team that he had with the 10. Drew Blickensderfer, I believe, was his crew chief there. Could be wrong. He basically has an entire team. It's basically the only difference is the number, the paint scheme, and the bigger overall team front run instead of SHR. Gregson, he had a lot of pop-up runs last year. I remember. He had a lot of pop-up runs where he was running top 10. At least that I can remember. I remember that. I say Gregson, I think, has a lot of potential. I think he, especially with a team like Front Row, who's on the up and up, and they also have a Penske Alliance now. They have a Penske Alliance, and they are a key Ford partner team. They are one of the top 3 Ford teams. Now, so they should be getting a lot of support. And even when they weren't, they were playoff contenders like 2021, 2020, 2023. I would say front row, I think, is on the up and up. A lot of teams are. Anyway, so the third charter is bought by 2311, the team co-owned by Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin. And the driver who will be driving that is the number 35 will be Riley Herbst. Now, Riley Herbst, I don't know if he's cup ready. He ran decent enough, like in his few starts, like at Daytona and Talladega.
Did you hit record?
Yep.
Okay. We can edit this out.
So, the third charter was bought by 2311, the team co-owned by Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin. Now, the driver who will be driving it, which will be number 35, Riley Herbst. Now, I don't know if he's cup ready. He's had a few decent runs when he's ran like at Daytona and Talladega with Rick Ware or Front Row, but I feel like the main reason everyone knows is sponsorship. He has the Monster Energy sponsorship. Monster Energy 2311 already has a good relationship with Monster Energy. They obviously sponsor Tyler Reddick, so it makes sense that the Monster Energy driver in the Xfinity Series would also go to that team. He's ran decent. Like he's gotten a few wins. He's gotten wins in the Xfinity Series, like at Indy last year, but I don't know if he's cup ready. Most people would agree that this is mainly because of sponsorship, but you never know. I mean, he could surprise us. I mean, he does have a few wins in the Xfinity Series. So, anyway, Justin Haley. So, last year, I believe it started at Kansas last year. Justin Haley, who was driving the 51 for Spire, and 51 for Rick Ware, and LaJoy was driving the 7 for Spire. They swapped rides. Mid-season, and Haley went to the 7, and LaJoy went to the 51. Justin Haley now will be running full-time with Spire. He will be returning to Spire, and his crew chief will be Rodney Childers, arguably one of the greatest NASCAR crew chiefs ever, at least of the 2010s. Of the 2010s, he's arguably one of the greatest. He has a championship. Okay, Rodney Childers. I would say Justin Haley in good hands. I think Justin Haley has a lot of potential, okay? Remember Coda? Even though he got DQ'd at Coda, he still was running like top 5, top 10 in a Rick Ware car. He was taking that thing up through the field in a Rick Ware car. It's like a running joke with me and my dad that no matter the track, Justin Haley's always in the top 20 in the final stage. No matter the track, he's always up there. Okay? And with now Rodney Childers and Spire, who's on the up and up, and with a driver like Justin Haley, I kind of expect some big. I have high hopes for Justin Haley. I have high hopes. He is a NASCAR Cup Series winner. Keep in mind, it took him less time to win a NASCAR Cup Series race, less starts, than pretty much anyone in the field. Pretty much anyone in the field. That's pretty insane. The only other driver who took less time is SVG, at least off the top of my head. Anyway, speaking of Rickway Racing, so the 51, you expect LaJoy to be going full time in that car, right? Wrong. Corey LaJoy will not be driving the full 51 full time. Instead, will be Cody Ware, Rick Ware's son. This is also pretty expected after Cody Ware got reinstated. This is kind of expected that he would go full time again, considering it's his dad's team. He's laughing stock. He's the butt of the jokes. I don't expect high hopes, and just keep your nose clean. That's really all we can ask of Cody Ware. Rick Ware is saying they are leasing their number 15 charter to RFK. So RFK will be a 3-car team. Now, for those who don't know, for leasing a charter, it only goes for 1 year. After 1 year, they can't lease the charter anymore. Like, at least to that team. Like, either they have to find another charter to lease, or they have to buy it, or just not run a third car. So that car for RFK will be the 60, driven by Ryan Preece. Now, Ryan Preece, I think, and I feel like a lot of people hold the sentiment, I feel like he's never gotten a fair chance in the NASCAR Cup Series. In 2019, his first season was with JTG Daugherty. It's not a terrible team, at least it wasn't a terrible team back then or even now, but like it wasn't good. All right, it's not anything to be singing about. In 2021, they sold the charter for his car 37. He switched to 37 the previous year in 2020, so he had to run the entire season as an open car, and he made every race. And then 2022, he didn't have a ride in the Cup Series. He was running part-time with Rick Ware Racing, but then SHR picked him up for the 41. But that was the first year that Kevin Harvick went winless. That was the year Kevin Harvick went winless. So, that was the year SHR didn't win a single race. I don't think Ryan Preece has gotten a fair shake in the Cup Series. But now he's with RFK, a team who's on the up and up. I'm saying that a lot. A team's on the up and up, but it's true. There are a lot of teams, and RFK is one of them. Brad Keselowski got his first win as an owner at Darlington. Buescher got a win at Watkins Glen against SVG. Forced SVG to mistake. That's not something that's easy to do. He did it. And now you got Ryan Preece. I'd say Ryan Preece, so many people have said, oh, he just needs a good ride, and myself included. Now, if he doesn't perform, I feel like I don't know. I don't know. I would just say if he doesn't perform, then maybe you're not cut out for it, because we've all said he just needs that big break. We'll see. We will see. Then we got Martin Truex Jr., the 2017 NASCAR Cup Series champion, 2016 and 2019 Coca-Cola 600 winner, 2016 Southern 500 winner. Let's see, am I forgetting? 2004 and 2005 NASCAR Busch Series champion, leader of the most miles in a NASCAR race with 588 in that 2016 Coca-Cola 600. He is retired from full-time racing. He will be running the Daytona 500 for Tricon, but that's, again, story for another time. We cover the open cars. Replacing him will be Chase Briscoe. Now, Briscoe, I say he will do pretty dang good. Okay, he has 2 Cup Career wins. Remember, 2022, in the Cup Series, he won a race at Phoenix. 2022, made the playoffs. He made it to the round of 8, albeit with some help from Ryan Preece at the Roval, but still, he made the round of 8 in an SHR car. Keep in mind, Kevin Harvick that year made it didn't make it out of the round at 16. Briscoe made it to the round at 12. And last year, 2024, he beat Kyle Busch, who, despite not being at his prime, still really freaking good. He beat him at Darlington to win the Southern 500. That's also really freaking good. And he made the round of 12 too. He also made the round of 12. Briscoe. Now he's with Joe Gibbs Racing. I think it'll be a little rocky out there considering he's with a new team, new spotter, new crew chief, entire new manufacturer. With Toyota instead of Ford, I'd say he's gonna have to adjust a little bit, but I'd say he's getting at least 2 wins and make round of 12, round of 8. He's at least going to Briscoe. He's going to do some pretty good things. And then we only have a few recaps left. Josh Berry will be replacing Harrison Burton in the 21 for the Wood Brothers. Harrison Burton will be going on to the Xfinity Series. But Josh Berry, I'd say this is also a big opportunity for him. Josh Berry, he had a lot of good runs last year. Main ones come to mind. Bristol. Yeah, Martinsville goes to come to mind. But Bristol and New Hampshire, those are the ones that come to my mind when I think of good runs for Josh Berry last year. And the second Daytona race, too. Josh Berry, I think, has some talent in him. Despite his age, he was really old for a rookie last year. I mean, back in like the 80s, he wouldn't be, but like nowadays, he was, but he still did really good with that. And now he's with the Wood Brothers, a team that did make the playoffs last year. They did get a win with Harrison Burton. They made it in 2020. They are basically a fourth Penske car, so they should be getting some help, some good technical partnership from there. And I think Josh Berry, I don't know if he'll win, but I think he will be a playoff contender. I think he will bring that team to a playoff contender. So the last team to make big changes, is Colleague. Now, Colleague, first of all, they rebranded the 31 to the 10, since obviously SHR doesn't exist. They do not have the 10. So Colleague rebranding it to the 10, just like in their Xfinity program. That car will be driven by Ty Dillon, who will be replacing Daniel Hemrick. Ty Dillon, he's not a great driver, but honestly, I feel bad for the guy. I honestly feel bad for Ty Dillon. He watched his brother, Austin, drive for Granddad's team while he was stuck with Germain Racing. And then that team closed down. And then his brother, still driving for RCR, he had to go to Gaunt Brothers part-time. And then he went to Time Petty GMS. And then he left that team. Then he went to Spire. And then got fired. And then he went down to the Truck Series, all while his brother drove for the granddad's team. Now he's back in the Cup Series. I honestly feel bad for the guy. I kind of feel bad for the guy. He's not a great driver. He kind of reminds me at times of Paul Menard. He's not flashy by any means. He's not really a playoff contender, but he will, for the most part, keep your car clean. He will, for the most part, keep it in one piece. And then I said there was another one. AJ Allmendinger will, once again, will be going back to full-time Cup racing. In 2023, he returned to full-time Cup racing. 2024 went full-time in the Xfinity Series, part-time in Cup, and now he's back full-time in Cup. He did win in 2023 at the Charlotte Roval. Allmendinger, maybe he might get a win. Maybe. It's going to be hard, I think, for anyone to get a road course win with SVG. I think it's going to be hard for a lot of people to get him. But I would say Allmendinger, I don't know, colleague, they're not really doing fantastic, but maybe they might, maybe top 25 points, maybe. Anyway, so how do you think each driver will do with their new with their new team for 2025 NASCAR Cup Series season? Do you think someone will get a win, playoff contender, or do you think some will disappoint? Leave your answer down below.